I mean, how do you not watch what the Dolphins did yesterday? And if you have any connectivity to South Florida, whether you like the Levitard show, whether you read the Miami Herald or Sun Sentinel, or you just watch from afar as what looks like a state going to hell, whatever the case may be, I took great pleasure in reading all the columns after the Dolphins game yesterday. Total, absolute disgust, panic. It wasn't even heartbreak. That's not the word of the day for the Dolphins. The Dolphins got absolutely crushed by the Colts. But it was a double whammy because Florida, Dolphins, New York, always connected. Miami, New York, connected. Miami loses to a quarterback that used to play for the Giants, who stunk for the Giants, all of a sudden goes to the Indianapolis Colts, and other than Dominique Foxworth, not one person was giving the Colts respect unless you had the Colts as your pick of the day, unless you had that. So Daniel Jones stinks as a Giant, in one game as a Colt, seems to be some sort of Cy Young winner. The guy scores on 7 of 7 possessions. Does not happen often. Wait a minute. Let me think about it. The first quarterback this century to score on every possession of a game. They scored on every possession. This is the Indianapolis Colts. It's true the Miami Dolphins were going to have secondary issues. It's true the Miami Dolphins had an over-under in a way that makes you realize they're just bad. We're sorry. But this game was even more spectacular to me because, A, anytime that I can get sound of a coach post-game that makes me laugh, that to me is a winning game. Listen to what Mike McDaniel sounded like after the Dolphins got crushed by the Indianapolis Colts.
Something that it was left to be desired, I think. I think it's definitely not all on him. There's just throws that I know he makes 9 times out of 10, and he didn't make them today. But that being said, it's hard to play quarterback when you have surprise pressures, meaning that they're blitzing, but you think it's accounted for, and then somebody doesn't pick it up, or you have people coming out the huddle the wrong way when they had been nailing it for a week on a week plus, really, stuff we've been working on. So, it's like the rest of the team, I would say, but definitely not all on him at all. There's too many people that failed at their execution of their jobs for him to even have any extra on his shoulders.
Boy, does it stink for a coach when you have to say, when you're trying to explain away your quarterback's performance, which was horrific. Tua just 14 of 23 for 114 yards, a TD, 2 interceptions. He fumbled the ball. He got sacked. He just looked terrible. And I could argue semi-persuasively he's looked terrible way more than he's looked good. I could argue even more persuasively that the Dolphins are now victim of the contract that they gave to Tua. And side note for all of you thinking that Tua is going to be let go, no chance, toilet pants. Way too much dead cap money for Stephen Ross to appreciate or like. He wants to spend the money and win games, although he has not been able to at all since he bought the team all those decades ago. But when you are a coach and by defending a player, what you have to do is throw every other player under the bus, it's a tough thought. So after a game like that, I'm as president of the Dolphins, I got to go down and talk to McDaniel. I got to go talk to Chris Greer, the GM, because we just got thoroughly embarrassed. And when you get embarrassed in the Miami market as a Miami Dolphin, and it's week 1 of a season, and you've got an entire, so much green in front of these teams, 16 more games, you need some talking points. It used to be when Mike McDaniel was hired that Mike McDaniel was this boy genius, this boy wonder, quirky but amazingly smart, knows something we don't know. Do you know how quickly that reputation turns to incompetence and weird and strange? And why is he coaching? It happens fast, and it's happening to Mike McDaniel right now. People are calling for him to lose his job toot sweet, like immediately. The thing is this. If you have a game where you have prepared your team to play and they get just beaten in every way, that sometimes can just be a tip of the cap. But if you know, and believe me, Chris Greer knows, Mike McDaniel knows. If you know that you were out prepared, outworked, and that was a contributing factor to you getting blown out, that's a tougher cure. If you've reset your team, if you had low expectations for your team, which the books had with their team over under, you know you're going to lose games. But what you're preaching to your players is we're going to lose games if we're going to lose them by playing the game the right way. We are not going to beat ourselves. If we get beaten by a better team, fine. But beaten by ourselves, and that is what the Dolphins looked like in yesterday's game. Like the Keystone Cops. Didn't know which way was up. It looked like play calling was bizarre. There were penalties that I've never seen. 12 men in a huddle. I don't think I recall seeing that penalty when they were trying to score or had scored their first touchdown. I just don't recall that level of discipline. Somehow there were catches that were called non-catches that looked totally reviewable, and it's like McDaniel was asleep at the switch of his red challenge flag. These are things you look for as a team president or as a GM more so than the score. So what it means for Mr. McDaniel, he's out of rope. I don't want to call next week a must-win for the Dolphins because any week 2 is not a must-win. But I'm ready to give you, Coca, right now, my wait to see, the official wait to see for today's show. And that's when we tell you something's going to happen. If it does, great. If it doesn't, fine. We will revisit it. For those new to the show, we are accountable with our picks of the day, our wait to sees, and they're all on a document at davidsamsonpodcast.com. You can find them all. Every wait to see we've ever done since we started the show. Well, the one for September 8th, Mike McDaniel will not coach the Dolphins week 1 of next season.